Here we go, Monday Live again. I had a hell of a week. I'm ready to go. It seems like I'm fighting the whole world over here, but let's go.
Hey guys, welcome back. I know we got a little bit delayed today, but big things in the works. I kind of just wanted to let you guys know that we are going to be doing YouTube a little bit differently. I know you guys are used to seeing the 1 hour or 1 hour and 15-minute YouTube videos on our YouTube page, but Sterling and I and Megan are all doing a little something different. We're going to break it up for you guys so you don't have to sit there and listen to the whole hour.
All right, so when we break it up, we may break it up into 2 parts or 3 parts, so it's a little bit smaller. And so you can listen to it, then come back later and listen to the other part, or whatever you want to do, however you want to do it. Because sometimes I get carried away. Instead of an hour, we're an hour, 15, 20 minutes. It's a lot sometimes. So we're going to try that. And if you guys don't like it, let us know. That's for sure.
Okay, let's kick things off. So we have a question from 40 of 40, 5257. Sammy, would you explain the power relationship between the 5 families in New York? Like, are they really considered equal in the commission? And why did New York become the predominant power base for LCN when Chicago had Al Capone and such enormous power in the early 20th century?
Okay, and I'll ask the first part first.
Okay.
Each boss, no matter the size, even though the size does matter, you could ask a lot of women that, but some of the families had 350 guys, the Genovese and the Gambino, approximately the main members, and the Colombo and the Lucchese's and the Gravano had smaller ones, 100 and change. So power brings in, a different position, and but they're all equally bosses. They're on the same level. Some bosses, see how a guy becomes like Carlo Gambino became the boss of bosses. So he's influential in every family, and he's influential in families that are out of the state, and they're going to make a vote, and they vote through him. So he's bringing in a lot of votes, and he becomes the boss of bosses. Everybody pays attention to him and talks with him, deals with him. Paul Castellano took over that position and became the boss of bosses as well. Chin Gigante was another powerhouse. The other families had, smaller families. They had less things. They had less control over unions and a lot of businesses. So that was another factor that made one boss more stronger than another boss. So, and the other part of that was about Chicago. Listen, Chicago was a tough family, rough. They weren't a pimple on the New York's ass. Al Capone was originally from New York. He got thrown out of New York. And he went to Chicago. He became a powerhouse over there. But Chicago wasn't as strong as ours in New York. And even when they conspired and they sent word, they always sent it to New York because New York was the power. It controlled the whole 5 families. So when you're in Chicago, you're controlling one family. So when you're talking to the commission, it's the 5 families in New York was the real power. So they're paying attention to what they say and do.
Okay, we have Anthony YL3HS. Hey, Sammy and team. How did the consigliere earn? Was being a captain more lucrative?
No, not necessarily. A guy who became the consigliere was a captain. He was upgraded to one notch to the consigliere family. It made him more powerful, not less powerful. Usually the crew that he left is around him. When I became the consigliere, Big Louis Valerio took over my position as a captain, and he stayed around me for my protection of everything and the businesses and everything. We just got more. So it's a bigger earning position, a bigger power position, And the closer you get to the boss, the more important you are.
Brad Colson, 9494, says, "Hey, Sammy, happy Easter. Can you explain the commission?"
Well, the commission, there's a boss and an administration of every family, and each boss is on the commission seat. And when they want to change rules or do things, it has to go to the commission. They all have to agree on it. Years ago, there was a lot more people on. There was a lot more people on the commission, a lot more families, and in a lot more places. If you remember, there was a place upstate New York, and they busted all kinds of guys there, and they were bosses from all over the country to come in and vote. They never wanted to do that again, so they left it up to the New York with the 5 families, and everybody else would have to listen to them. And that's how it broke down. But there was a powerful family in New York, Chicago, different states, 20 different states in the United States.
The All-American Nightmare 4163 says, "How does the family name get chosen?"
Well, usually years ago, it was always under somebody's name who ran the family and became the boss. But later on in life, they changed that. They didn't want that. So a guy didn't want the family to be named there to his personal name because it brought heat to him personally. It was hard to get away with that. So if you were in the Genovese family, Genovese was gone. So Fat Tony took over for a while. Chin took over. They don't want their name on that thing. They're secret. And they don't want their name out. Everybody using their name. How do you go to court and win a case when you say, my name is Carlo Gambino, and everybody's saying there's a Gambino family? I mean, he's finished. So they don't want the name under them no more. Like Gotti took over. He didn't really, I think he wanted it under his name, but he was talked to and advised it's a dumb move. You're the boss of the Gambino family. Let the weight and the publicity go in that area.
David's Wards, 3528. Do associates have to be on record with the captain?
Who?
Associates.
No, not necessarily. If the associate is an important guy and he's done work or he's a workhorse, and yes, the whole family will know who he is. Usually other families will know who he is as well.
Gemma Smith. Hey, darling. Do you remember Gemma Smith? She was the one that was going to get the rose tattoo, and you told her to get it. She said she's still thinking about getting the rose tattoo.
It's totally up to you. Listen, remember one thing. Tattoos are pretty on young, sexy women. As you get older, I don't think a tattoo is too sexy on a woman. So these tattoos stay on you for life. And as you age, they age too. So
Let's get into some super chats. Sean Mark says, "Dear Sammy, my uncle is talking bad behind my back, and we know the rules. I just want to go on record before I make a move."
well, I'm not going to tell you to take him out, but you have a good talk with him and tell him, say, bro, talking behind my back, you're undermining each other. Your family, stick together, stay together. You go against your family member, you're weakening yourself, you're weakening your family. That shouldn't happen. It does happen quite a bit, whether it's the mafia or outside the mafia. So it's a tough situation when it's a family member.
Gas Can Lip in the super chat. "Since scientists are playing God by bringing prehistoric dire wolves back to life with DNA, do you want them to bring any certain mobsters back to life so you..."
I saw that thing. It's amazing. I never see anything like it. If there's a procedure, I would like to go back about 40 years. You could make me a wolf, mix me up with a wolf, half Sammy the Bull.
A werewolf?
A werewolf.
Half bull, half wolf. All right. Neil Marino in the super chat. can you comment on the Detroit mob? Thoughts, feelings?
There was a Detroit mob. I did know them well. They had a pretty good reputation. They were tough guys. That's where Jimmy Hoffa was killed, in Detroit. My feelings is with Jimmy Hoffa, I know that he was killed by the Genovese people. One of their captains sent their guy down. They killed him over there. They never drove him back and buried him in New York like they said. That's bullshit. They probably buried him with the Detroit people in a farm somewhere over there. And they were good people, tough people.
Gemma Smith in the super chat. What's one thing you remember from those days?
One thing I remember from those days? There's so many things I remember, Janice. It's incredible. Easter's a great example. We all celebrated Easter, Easter Sunday and stuff. People would make the Italian meals and stuff. Easter was a great time of the year. Christmas was a great time of the year. There was a lot of great memories back in those days. But things like that, Easter was one of them. I just did a video about Easter, Palm Sunday actually, and you could see it on Instagram or a couple other places it's floating around. My girl helped me with that, Sterling, and I have to mention names because I was talking to a lawyer today, and he got mad at me because I never mentioned his name, and so I got to mention everybody's name when I talk. Maria, I'm mentioning your name. And this is Megan. There she is right here. That's Megan. She can't see you. I can't
There
see
you go.
This
Say
is
hi,
Megan.
everybody. Hi to
Hi.
Megan. Everybody
So-
show Megan some love.
Yeah.
She's
And
there.
Megan's working on.
They can't see you. They see your elbows.
No, now I see you. Yeah. So Megan's working on a bunch of serious things with me. She's very smart. Good girl.
Yay. Thank you, Megan. Okay, I am going to turn it over to Sterling so that she can get on our Instagram and TikTokers.
Hey, Sammy, much love from Canada. If you had to guess which family is the most powerful today, who would it be?
I think the Genovese and the Gambino family are still the two most powerful. I don't know which one. I've been at it for too long to know which one's more powerful. But I think they're not they don't do that anymore. They kind of work together. They don't do as many things as we used to do. They lost the unions. They lost a lot of things. It's a different mafia today. And I think they all get along. So I don't know who's the most powerful.
Jacob would like to know, did you ever have any dealings with Russell Buffalino?
No, I knew of him, but I didn't have any dealings with him.
Speaking of cigars, what kind of cigars do you smoke, Sammy?
Swisher Sweets. Now, Swisher Sweets, we're talking to them. They know I smoke Swisher Sweets. So if they want me to advertise it, they should give me a few bucks and make me advertise. I'll advertise for them. But I think they're cheap asses, bro. The smokes are good, but I think they're a little cheap in the advertisement department.
Is there a Chinese Mafia in New York City?
Yes, there always was a Chinese Mafia there. There was a Vietnamese Mafia there for a while. I don't know if they existed, but the Chinese Mafia was there. When I first got pinched with John Gotti and I was in a tier, there was a guy named Johnny Khan. He was a Chinese guy. He got busted, and he was on the same floor as us. I used to play cards with him every day, solitaire, stuff like that. He hated John Gotti, there's a Chinese Mafia. There is.
Johnny would like to say, Sammy, I really enjoy your channel and all of your stories.
Thank you, my friend.
Be sure to check out our YouTube regularly. We're putting up all sorts of videos, and we got a really great one coming out for Good Friday. Sammy, if Hollywood asked you, the star in a mafia movie, to act, would you do it?
It depends on what kind of if it was a mafia movie, yeah, I would probably do it. If they paid me enough, I would do it probably. I did the movie, The Salvatore. I acted in that movie. Once it's about, well, that was about me. So it was easy to act in that part. It's not acting. I just talked and I did what I normally do. So if it was a mafia movie, I think I would feel comfortable doing it. If it was Romeo and Juliet, I don't think I could do it. I'm not an actor.
George would like to know, can you tell us a little bit about the Black Hand?
The Black Hand was something that the Mafia, Murder Incorporated, and different organizations used to go. In Sicily, I mean, they would put paint and put a black hand on the guy's door. Everybody knew that that person was marked for death.
Twig would like to know, where do you go to join the Mafia?
Don't go to Walgreens. I mean, you can't go to Walgreens and join a mafia. It's a street thing. And you don't join the mafia, you're picked. It's usually old guys who know the young kids who are living and growing up. They know a lot about you. They pick you and they propose you to become a maid guy, if you want.
Definitely don't go to the Walgreens for the Mafia.
No.
Emily says, Sammy, you knew my uncle Dom. Do you remember anyone named Dom?
Dom, I knew about 22 Doms. Fat Dom, skinny Dom. I mean, there's a lot of Doms.
Go ahead and let us know some more information, Emily. Emily says his nickname was Swag or Swaggy.
Oh, Swaggy, yes. Mm-hmm. Yes, I know a guy named Swaggy, yes. That's your uncle?
Mm-hmm. It's Emily's uncle. She's
yes.
Watching you live.
Yeah, I know him. And he was a good guy. He was a good guy. I believe he was in the Genovese family, Swaggy. But I'm not sure.
How was Niagara Falls back in the day?
A lot of water.
Leanne Patrick in the super chat says, "Hey Sam, do you remember OG Westie's boss, Mickey Spillane?"
Spillane.
He said he
yes.
was.
I think Roy DeMeo killed him and gave it over to. He was the original boss of the Westies.
Okay. And then El Frago, El Gato, change your name back. Greetings. Would you go to your friend's or brother's funeral during an all-out dangerous war? And if not, how does that look? Gracias.
Yeah. No, listen, I would go to my friend's funeral, regardless of a war. I would go there with 4 or 5 of my guys. We would all be armed. I want to pay respects. Talking about that, today was his funeral. A guy named Vinnie Oil. I loved him. He was a great guy, tough guy. He was a fucking angel. He helped so many people in life. And originally, at one point, when I took over Tito's crew and became the captain, he was in that crew. He was with me. And then he was with Frankie the Chico. But me and him were always, always tight. I put out something today. Today was his last day of the funeral. And they're probably burying him now as we speak. And his name was Vinnie Rizzuto. We used to call him Vinnie Oil because he owned an oil company. Great guy. I mean, and in the thing I told him, I said, Vinny, save a seat for me, bro. I hope we meet up again. I'm getting up with age too. I think he was 3 years older than me. He was 83. And he was sick, only mattered for a couple of weeks. They found he had some cancer in his throat. They brought him into the hospital. He was in the hospital just about 2 weeks. They were ready to give him chemo and stuff like that, and he died. And I'm telling you, there's a lot of people brokenhearted about it, so am I.